The galaxy remembered the day when humanity left. It was not slow. It was not gentle. It was sudden, like a door closing in the middle of the night. One day, human fleets filled the stars. Their colonies glowed with light. Their voices filled the galactic networks. And then, silence. Planets once alive with human cities went dark. Ships in orbit vanished. Stations that had traded with aliens for centuries stood empty, drifting in the void like hollow bones. No signal. No message. Only absence. At first, the other species of the galaxy were confused. They thought it was some kind of trick. Humanity had always been clever, always hiding secrets behind secrets. Maybe they were preparing for war. Maybe they were planning some grand move. But days became weeks. Weeks became years. And the truth was undeniable. Humanity had left. Not just Earth. Not just the colonies. They had left everything. The galaxy reacted in different ways. Some alien empires celebrated. To them, humans had always been dangerous. Too bold, too unpredictable, too willing to fight. They had seen humans win wars they should have lost. They had seen humans bend impossible odds to their will. Now, without humans, the galaxy felt safer. But others did not celebrate. They remembered the strange way humans fought, not for resources, not for glory, but for survival. They remembered how humans stood against threats no one else dared to face. They remembered how humans had often been the shield, even when no one asked them to be. And in the silence left behind, many began to wonder, why did they go? The first explorers went to human space. They found ruins. Cities stripped clean. Technology removed. As if humanity had not abandoned their homes, but carried them away. On one world, an alien survey team found something strange. A massive stone wall, carved with simple words in hundreds of languages. Do not follow. The warning spread across the galaxy. Some laughed. They said humans were only trying to stay mysterious, leaving behind one last riddle. But others felt fear. Why leave a warning unless there was danger? And then came the whispers. Explorers who ventured deep into human space sometimes did not return. The few who survived spoke of strange shadows moving among the stars. They told of signals that looked human but carried no meaning, repeating endlessly like a voice with no soul. Sensors picked up impossible readings, energy surges that did not match any known technology. Disturbances in spacetime that bent gravity itself. It was as if something enormous, something unnatural, was moving in the darkness where humanity had once lived. Still, the galaxy was quick to forget. Trade grew. Old rivalries returned. Wars began again. Without humans to disrupt the balance, the galaxy settled back into its ancient rhythm. But in quiet corners, among scientists and philosophers, the question remained. Why did humanity leave? One historian, a scholar from the Serati species, wrote, "Humanity does not run. Humanity does not vanish. If they are gone, it is not because they were weak. It is because they saw something coming. Something we cannot see." Her words were ignored at first. But decades later, when the galaxy was once again divided and fragile, they returned with weight. Because strange things were happening at the edge of known space. An old mining colony, untouched for centuries, suddenly lit up with human signals. When alien ships arrived, they found no humans, only machines, silent and waiting. Machines that attacked without hesitation, destroying the ships before vanishing into the void. Fear spread. Was this humanity's doing? Or was it something else, something they had left behind? The galaxy began to whisper again. Some said humanity had left to escape. Others said they had gone to prepare for war. A few believed the darkest idea of all, that humanity had not left willingly. They had been taken. And so the legend of the great departure grew. Children on alien worlds told stories of humans who would return one day, stronger than before. Soldiers spoke of humans as monsters, the ultimate enemy. Merchants cursed them for leaving so suddenly, for shattering trade routes that had lasted centuries. But beneath all the stories, one truth remained. The galaxy did not understand humanity. They never had. And now, with humanity gone, they understood even less. Every empire, every species, every wandering traveler who looked at the dark space where humans had once thrived felt the same quiet fear. Not fear of humans themselves, but fear of the question no one could answer. What had made humanity leave? And in that silence, in that absence, in the great hollow left by human departure, the galaxy faced something it had not felt in a long time. Dread. Because deep inside, every mind knew one thing. Humanity never moved without reason. And if they had left, it meant something unthinkable was coming. When humanity was gone, the galaxy discovered something strange. At first, there was silence. The great human fleets no longer patrolled the trade routes. The endless human debates, their loud voices in the councils, their daring explorers, gone. For a short while, the galaxy felt lighter. Alien empires began to grow. Without humans interfering, borders expanded faster. Old grudges that humans had once broken apart with their stubborn peacekeeping now returned. Planets were conquered, resources were claimed, and rulers smiled as their banners spread across the stars. To many, it seemed like a golden age was beginning. Trade ships filled the void left by human merchants. New technologies, once kept in check by human hands, spread freely. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy was no longer moving to the rhythm of human ambition. And yet, it did not feel right. The galaxy was calm, yes. But it was the kind of calm that comes before a storm. The first sign came from the Kralin Empire. They had fought humanity many times in the past and had always lost. But now, with humans gone, their fleets rose quickly. They began to challenge other empires, winning victories with ease. Other species noticed something even stranger. Enemies they thought had been destroyed by humans long ago were returning. Old pirate clans reappeared in the outer systems. Raiders attacked colonies that had once been safe. One council leader whispered a question in secret. If the humans destroyed them, how can they be alive again? No one answered. Scholars began to search human records, hoping to understand what humanity had really been fighting for. What they found was unsettling. Humanity's wars had always seemed strange. They did not expand for resources alone. They fought in places no one else cared about, empty sectors, dead planets, quiet corners of the galaxy. They had spent fleets and lives protecting regions that held no value to others. Why? At the time, other species thought it was human arrogance, a need to control everything. But now, with humans gone, those same places became unstable. Reports told of strange ships moving in the dark, ships with no known design, ships that never answered hails. Colonies near those regions began to vanish. And with each disappearance, the same chilling truth spread. Perhaps humanity was never fighting for themselves. Perhaps they were fighting for us all. But the galaxy was proud, and pride is a dangerous thing. Leaders did not admit fear. Instead, they claimed strength. They said the galaxy was better without humans, that their time was over, that the future belonged to others. Still, deep in the shadows, rumors grew. In the Trinari Republic, an explorer claimed to have found a massive battlefield on the edge of human space. Wreckage of ships stretched across a planet's orbit, some alien, some human, and some that matched nothing in the records of any species. The explorer swore the unknown ships were alive, moving even in death. His report was dismissed. But when he returned to his colony, his ship exploded in orbit before it could land. No one ever found his remains. The galaxy moved on. Trade grew, empires expanded, and wars burned like wildfires. Yet beneath the surface, an unease spread, unspoken but heavy. Because without humans, something had shifted. Something invisible but real. The balance was gone. On one world, a philosopher from the Delari species explained it best. Humans were the wild element. Unpredictable, Yes. Dangerous, yes. But they carried a weight that kept the galaxy stable. Without them, everything moves too freely. Too easily. And when the universe moves too easily, something is waiting to push it further. Her words were mocked. But in the years that followed, events proved her right. Pirates became stronger. Old weapons, long banned, were used again. Empires clashed without fear of human intervention. And deep in the void, something else began to rise. Sensors across multiple systems recorded strange anomalies. Massive energy surges, gravitational shifts, entire stars dimming for days before returning to normal. Scientists tried to explain them, but no theory matched. The whispers returned, stronger this time. Some said humanity had left to escape. Others believed they had gone to prepare for war. A few, the most fearful, believed they had left the galaxy because they could no longer contain what was coming. The galaxy stood divided. Some wanted to forget the humans, to erase their memory. Others wanted to search for them, to beg for answers. But no one dared to speak the deepest fear of all. If humanity had been the shield, then without them, what would strike next? The void left by humanity was not empty. It was not peace. It was a wound, wide open, waiting for something to enter. And in that void, the galaxy began to feel it. A presence. Watching. Waiting. Hungry. The galaxy thought it understood fear. It had faced wars. It had faced plagues. It had faced the rise and fall of countless empires. But none of that was true fear. True fear came quietly, like a shadow that no one noticed until it was too late. It began at the edge of human space. Exploration fleets were sent to study the abandoned colonies. Most never returned. Those that did came back broken. Crews were silent, eyes wide, unable to explain what they had seen. They spoke of voices in the comm systems, voices that sounded human but carried no meaning. Words repeated endlessly in dead tones, like echoes from ghosts. Others described machines, machines that looked like ships, but moved like predators. They hunted without warning, without mercy. Their weapons cut through shields as if they were paper. Their armor healed itself, glowing with strange light. And when they destroyed a ship, they did not leave wreckage behind. They pulled the broken pieces into themselves, as if feeding. At first, the galaxy did not believe. Empires dismissed the survivors as liars or cowards. But as more expeditions vanished, denial became impossible. Something was there. Something older than humans. Something older than any empire. Scientists studied the fragments left behind. What they found shook them. The machines were not new. Their design matched ancient records, records so old they had been forgotten by most species. A single name appeared again and again, buried in warnings, myths, and broken scripts. The Harbingers. No one knew where they came from. Some believed they were the creations of a lost civilization. Others thought they had always existed, born from the galaxy itself. But one truth was clear: they had been defeated once, long ago. And the ones who defeated them were humans. The discovery spread like wildfire. Suddenly, history looked different. Humanity's strange wars, their endless sacrifices, their obsession with controlling empty regions of space, it all made sense. They had not been fighting for land or power. They had been fighting to keep the Harbingers contained. And now, without humanity, the prison was breaking. The galaxy panicked. Fleets were sent to confront the machines. Entire armadas vanished without a single distress signal. Colonies burned. Trade routes collapsed. One message, found drifting in space from a destroyed cruiser, carried only 3 words. They are awake. In the high councils, arguments exploded. Some demanded that humanity be found. Others refused, saying humans had abandoned the galaxy and would never return. But no one had an answer to the most dangerous question. If the Harbingers had been sleeping for so long, what had woken them now? Theories spread. Some believed humanity's departure had been the trigger. Others thought the harbingers had always been waiting, gathering strength, and only now were ready to rise again. A few whispered the darkest thought of all, that humanity had not left by choice, that they had been forced to leave. The galaxy stood on the edge of despair. In the shadows of ruined colonies, survivors spoke of strange symbols burned into walls and ships. Symbols that were not human. Symbols that no one could translate. Some said they were warnings. Others said they were marks of ownership, claiming entire worlds as prey. One thing was certain. The harbingers were not simply machines. They were something greater. Something beyond understanding. They did not kill for conquest. They killed because it was their nature. And humanity had known. For centuries, humanity had fought in silence, never telling the galaxy the truth. Perhaps they had believed no one else would understand. Perhaps they had known the galaxy would never believe. Or perhaps they had known the truth was too heavy, too terrible to share. Now that silence had become a curse. Every empire faced the same question. Could they fight an enemy that had once taken all of humanity's strength to contain? Could they survive what even humans had fled from? In the end, one thing was clear. The harbingers were awake. And they were hungry. The galaxy was not ready. It believed in numbers, in fleets, in firepower. It believed that with enough ships and enough weapons, any enemy could be crushed. That belief ended the day the harbingers attacked. It began on the world of Zalos Prime, a wealthy colony with billions of lives. For centuries, it had been safe, surrounded by strong fleets and defended by powerful weapons. The people believed nothing could touch them. Then the sky turned black. Sensors picked up hundreds of objects entering orbit. At first, commanders thought they were asteroids, but they moved too quickly, too precisely. When the objects unfolded, the truth was clear. They were not rocks. They were ships, if they could be called ships at all. The harbingers had arrived. The first strike was silent. No warnings. No demands. No signals. The harbinger vessels opened fire with beams of light that cut cities in half. Shields collapsed instantly. Buildings vaporized. Millions died before the colony even understood what was happening. The defense fleet rushed forward. Thousands of ships opened fire, filling the sky with energy blasts. For a moment, hope returned. The harbinger ships glowed with impacts. Explosions flared across their hulls. But then the impossible happened. The harbinger ships healed. Wounds closed. Metal grew back like living flesh. In seconds, the damage was gone. The fleet kept firing, desperate, but it was useless. Harbinger weapons tore through them, slicing ships apart with surgical precision. Entire carriers vanished in bursts of fire. Cruisers shattered into debris. Within an hour, the fleet was gone. Within a day, Zalos Prime was gone. Nothing remained but silence and ash. The galaxy watched in horror. For the first time in living memory, an entire world had been erased in a single strike. But the harbingers did not stop. Other systems soon reported attacks. Trade routes vanished. Colonies went dark. Fleets disappeared without sending a single distress call. Everywhere the harbingers moved, life ended. Desperation grew. Councils ordered alliances. Enemies who had fought for centuries now stood side by side, united against the new threat. Massive fleets were built, larger than any in history. And yet, none of it mattered. The second great battle took place near the twin suns of the Valoris system. A combined fleet of 5 empires gathered, more than 20,000 ships. They believed sheer numbers would turn the tide. The battle lasted only 3 hours. When it was over, the harbingers had destroyed the entire fleet. The suns themselves dimmed, as if even the stars feared to shine near them. From the wreckage, a single message was recovered. It was not alien. It was human. A human data core, floating among the ruins, carried one chilling sentence. We could not destroy them. We could only delay. Now, it is your turn. The message spread across the galaxy like fire. For the first time, the truth could not be denied. Humanity had never been fighting for conquest. They had been holding the line. Every war, every strange battle, every desperate stand, it had all been to keep the harbingers contained. And now, with humanity gone, the galaxy was naked. Fear turned to panic. Civilizations that once dreamed of power now dreamed only of survival. Refugees fled from system to system, but the harbingers moved too quickly. Wherever people ran, the machines followed. Leaders demanded answers. Scientists searched the ruins of human space, hoping to find hidden weapons, secret knowledge, anything that could help. They found fragments, half-finished plans, and warnings written in hundreds of languages. But no weapons strong enough to save them. Some whispered that humanity had not abandoned the galaxy at all. They had left because they were building something. Something far away, beyond the stars, in the dark between galaxies. If that was true, then there was still hope. But hope was dangerous. Every day more worlds fell. Every day the harbingers grew stronger. And every day, the galaxy remembered the human message. We could only delay. Delay. Not defeat. Not victory. Only time. The harbingers had been waiting in the dark for centuries. Now they were awake. Now they were hungry. And without humanity, there was no one strong enough to stop them. The galaxy was falling. And all that remained was a single question. Would humanity return in time? Or had the galaxy already run out of time? The galaxy had almost given up. Systems were burning. Fleets were gone. Entire species had retreated to hidden worlds, hoping the harbingers would pass them by. Fear had become the law. Hope had vanished like smoke in a storm. And then, the signals appeared. They were faint at first, barely detectable through the void. Strange patterns in human code, unmistakable, unmistakably human. Fleets that had been lost for decades, alive and moving again, deeper than any sensor could see. Ships larger than anything the galaxy had ever known, dark and gleaming, engines blazing with impossible energy. Humanity was returning. Panic turned to shock, shock turned to awe. Every empire, every fleet, every hidden colony watched as the first human ships slipped back into known space. But they were not the humans anyone remembered. These were stronger, faster, darker, and stranger than the legends had described. The first human admiral to be seen by alien eyes spoke no words. They needed none. The ships moved with precision, destroying the harbinger advance fleets without hesitation. Entire star systems were freed from the machine's grip in days that should have taken decades. Yet even as relief spread, fear remained. Humans were not here to save everyone. The truth became clear when scouts approached the first liberated worlds. Human warships did not dock. They did not land troops. They did not offer supplies. Instead, they issued a simple command across the void. Clear the stars. Leave or be removed. The galaxy realized the terrible truth. Humanity had never left because they feared the harbingers. They had left to build weapons capable of facing them. They had prepared for war in the dark, beyond reach, far from the eyes of those who could not understand. And now, they had returned. Every empire, every species, every survivor had a choice. Step aside, or be treated as obstacles in humanity's plan. The harbingers were still out there, waiting, growing, and humanity would not hesitate to eliminate anything in the way of the fight. Some worlds surrendered immediately. Some fleets fled. Others, proud and stubborn, tried to resist. They did not last long. Human ships moved like shadows, unstoppable and precise, neutralizing threats without mercy. Yet the harbingers were not defeated. They were stronger than anyone could imagine, ancient beyond reckoning, and the galaxy realized humanity's return was not a miracle, it was a battle just beginning. Aliens who once mocked humans now understood why they had feared them. Humanity had always been dangerous, yes. But it had been their danger that kept the galaxy alive. Their cunning, their bravery, their obsession with fighting the impossible. These were the shields that had held the darkness at bay. And now, humanity had become the sword. The harbingers advanced. Stars flared as weapons collided. Fleets vanished, systems burned, and the galaxy held its breath. Every species watched, powerless, as humans and the harbingers waged a war unlike anything imagined. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. Some whispered that the galaxy would never be the same again. That humans, in their return, had become something more than humans. Something beyond any empire's understanding. And perhaps they had. For centuries, humans had carried the weight of the galaxy's survival alone. And now, armed with weapons and knowledge the universe could barely comprehend, they were ready to reclaim the stars from the darkness that even the oldest empires could not face. But one question lingered, echoing in the minds of every living being. When the war was over, what would remain? Would humanity protect the galaxy once again? Or would it sweep aside everything and everyone, leaving only survivors who could follow their rules? No one knew. All they could do was watch as the human fleets moved forward, unstoppable and silent, cutting through the darkness. And in the distance, the harbingers waited, ancient, patient, and hungry. The final battle had begun, and the galaxy understood, finally, what it had lost when humanity left. Not just power. Not just courage. But hope.